Good Easter and good Earth Day to all of those who either celebrate this holiday or choose to acknowledge our great Earth Mother on this particular day. This day is known for a few other things. So if that's your persuasion, welcome. I have a topic for today. This is unplanned. I was sort of sitting here waiting, listening, listening into the currents of the collective to know what the topic was to speak about today. Uh, and I know what the topic is, but I don't know how I'm going to navigate through this. It's going to come out of my mouth. There, the title of this is Resurrection. There's a second part to it. I don't have the words straight yet, but the gist of it is that despite what Jesus experienced in the days prior to his resurrection, despite those events and the challenge, the physical challenge that he endured, despite that, he left the tomb. It struck me that there's probably a lot of significance to this in all of our lives. So I wanted to highlight that today. And it's probably not something people talk about on Easter. They don't pitch it this way, but I'm going to. So if you think about the story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, all those who came with them for centuries preceding and centuries following their presence on the earth, all of them were demonstrating something for us. They were demonstrating the intersection of spirit, our natural reality, the real reality, you might say, the intersection of that with the physical realm, being human. There's a whole lot between the physical realm and being human. There's a whole lot of stuff in there. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But just know the physical world is an illusion in its most primal sense. You can talk to any physicist, they will tell you this. The physical world really, it's all space. It's a illusion that we're able to perceive it in the way that we do. It is not, it's not actually here. In one way, you could say it's not actually here. But consciousness from our real reality, our consciousness, the awareness, our energetic awareness, we are energy. We are just energy. We are conscious energy. We're energy that has awareness of itself. What we do is we project, we imagine, we dream thoughts into this physical, what appears to be a physical playground. Now it's not, it's an illusion. It is not real. but it's real in the sense of our true nature that projects it. We have an experience of it. It's kind of like when you think about any horror movie you've watched. When you're entertaining thoughts of being chased down and potentially being, we'll just say, harmed, you're experiencing that reality. Is it real? No. But you are having an experience, a visceral experience. You might actually feel fear. So we say, oh, it's real. That's what we say about the physical reality. You don't say that about your thoughts or imagination because there's a separation between that and what you think is real, this physical reality. There's no difference. It's exactly the same. Okay, so Mary and Jesus and all of those, probably all of us, we were there. If you're listening to me, you were probably there, probably there with them. All of us came to demonstrate this, these things I'm talking about, this intersection. This is what the Christian cross is about. It's the intersection of spirit and matter. Okay, spirit animates matter. Spirit is our reality. That's what we are. We are an invisible consciousness that can project ourselves into an illusion of physicalness. And then we can have all kinds of crazy experiences. Now, when you think about what Jesus endured, he and all of these people, they achieved this divine intersection. They were able, how do I put this? They were able to essentially activate their divinity in matter. This is a really big, complicated, sort of highly detailed thing to explain. I'm not going to totally explain this. But what they did is they were able to activate their physicality so that a great extent of their divinity could be present in the physical realm. Now, for most humans, it's not possible. It's not possible. It takes a lot of soul work to be able to do this. But humanity was created. We are special in a way. We were created to be able to do this. There are other species out there that can't do this. Humanity was created to do this. And so many masters have come over the eons and eons and eons of time, hundreds of thousands of years, to demonstrate this. Long, long, long ago, that was our natural way of being human. There were things that happened. We're not going down that tangent today either. But the point is, Jesus, Mary, and all of us who came with them, they were demonstrating how you do this. And they planted seeds because they knew this mission would not be fully accomplished in that time. They planted seeds so that it could be accomplished right now in our time. We are the ones who have come back to demonstrate what they did then. Now, what Jesus endured, what those of that time, those who resisted him, those who resisted essentially and ultimately it's love. There is only love. That is the only thing in the universe. It's love. You either are it, embrace it, or you resist it. in the law of one, this is what they mean by service to self versus service to others. Service to others, these are not great terms. Don't take these literally. Service to others is this alignment with love. Service to self is the alignment or the resistance to love. Okay. And both paths are valid. There are, well, everyone at some point will choose to experience resistance to love. Most people are actually doing this in their life to some degree right now. They are resisting it. It's probably because of wounds, wounding. Therefore, they resist. So many things are coalescing. I don't want to lose my path. Okay, so there were those who were in resistance to what Jesus and Mary and all of us were bringing in at that time. They were resisting. Many of them resisted because they had power through channels of resistance. They had power because they were the rule makers that said you should resist. They were reinforcing resistance amongst humanity, which gave them power. Humans who have a lot of power tend not to want to give it up. If you choose love, you realize there's no need for power, there's no need to control. No one stands above anyone else. So people with power and who want to keep that power will resist love. Always, always, always. Now, the second part of this is you can see then why Jesus and Mary and everyone involved encountered that resistance, why they had to operate quietly, in a sense, amongst the resistance. Love is a powerful threat to the resistance of it. It almost sounds ridiculous. It's ridiculous. People who resist love don't have what they want. They think the power is a replacement for what they really crave and want. I don't have to explain that to you how ridiculous that is. Okay, so what these people who were in power, who were resisting, what they did was they're like, okay, big shots, let's see how of love you are. Let's see how your love can withstand the torture that we're going to apply to you. That was why they did what they did. And all those who resist love will always threaten your humanity. They will threaten your physicality. They will debate what you propose by threatening your humanity. In other words, I can take your life, so anything you say or do is therefore invalid. You are not an immortal God. This is the argument they put forth. I can take your life. Therefore, what you say is invalid. Do you see the ridiculousness of this? We are not the physicality. We are projecting it. Jesus knew this. They all knew this. That's why they had to allow it to happen. So that these ones who resist see that what was spoken, what was demonstrated, remains true, despite the fact that they took the vehicle through which it was being demonstrated. This is the cross to bear. This is what that meant. This is why they made him haul it on his back. I don't know if that's historically true. I think it is. But that's what the symbolism was about. The intersection of spirit and matter. When spirit is animating through physicality in this way, the cross that we bear, the human bears the cross of the spirit bears the cross of the human. This is not an easy thing to integrate. When spirit wants to, we'll say, go faster than the body can keep up, the body suffers. When the body resists, when the human resists, no, it's too much. No, it feels too fast. No, I'm overwhelmed. No, I don't like the idea of this. No, it threatens. I'm afraid. The human can do that. Then the spirit suffers. There has to be a balance. That is the intersection of spirit and matter. That is the cross that we bear. Okay. So they took his life. They made him suffer physically. They took the human vehicle. It made no point because the truth was not the illusion of his physical body. The truth was what he and all of those were demonstrating. Now, the point to my video today is that that's just the context. That's the preface. The point may be very simple, and then we'll be done. The point is, think about how Jesus must have felt in that tomb on that third day. For humorous purposes, we're just gonna imagine some things. Imagine him sitting in his tomb thinking, those people out there did some horrendous things to me. Am I afraid to go back out there? I'm hurt. I'm hurt. I didn't like that, right? His human experienced those things, and spirit acknowledged that. His human had a right to say, I'm afraid of what's out there. They might do it again. That's the atmosphere that I have to live within. I'm hurt. I'm hurt. He could have stayed in that tomb forever. He could hide in that tomb forever. It's unlikely his spirit would have let him. The Holy Spirit, the higher self. It's unlikely his higher self would have let him. His higher self would have tried every single avenue to mm, mm, leave the tomb. Leave the tomb. You must leave the tomb. You cannot. If you do not leave the tomb, you cannot continue the evolution of this story. If you do not leave the tomb, you will not continue the evolution of your story. It's not done until you leave the tomb. But you can imagine how his humanness felt. I don't want to be hurt like that again. So he left the tomb. Now, I don't think we know. I don't think we know a lot about what happened then. Doesn't matter. I don't know. Maybe some people out there know. But in terms of this story or the story that I'm telling, his life continues. His life didn't end there. His life continued. He continued. He came out of that tomb despite what happened, despite what he experienced. And that was probably one of the most important acts he probably did, because without a resurrection aspect to this story, you can see where things might have been written off as he was just another prophet, able to be taken out like all of us probably have been in many lifetimes. We just take them out. That's what the bad guys say, or the people in resistance. They're not bad, they're just in resistance. This is what they say. We'll just keep taking you out. Well, it's a different story when those who come to demonstrate this intersection of spirit and physical humanness, it's a different story when those beings are resurrected, when they step back into the limelight in a sense, despite what happened. That is the key. That is the message that they were trying to bring to all of humanity, that you are not the physicality, you are the spirit animating it. So you have to leave the tomb. And you don't have to do that for anybody else. Nobody needs to see you do this. Nobody needs to see you do this. You need to see yourself do this. You need to leave the tomb. Resurrect yourself. That's my message. I did this recently. Um, I knew I was in a tomb. I knew it. I had visions of it at one point. I asked my higher self about it at one point. I knew I was in a tomb. Uh, but I didn't put things together. And it was Mother Mary who came to me a couple weeks ago and took me back to this tomb. I'd kind of forgotten about it. Took me back to the tomb, and she's like, "You need to leave. You need to leave the tomb." You know how it is when you have visions like that. Those of you who have these kinds of waking meditative visions, everything is conveyed in a moment. I didn't see it before, but she conveyed it in that moment. I had to leave the tomb. I'm like, oh my God, I see what I've been doing. I've been staying in this tomb. I need to leave the tomb. So I called in Isis on top of Mother Mary. I'm like, escort me out of here. I'm not sure I could do it alone. I need to leave. It was so clear. It was so clear. So I left. That was my resurrection, in a sense. That was one of the things that has restored my sovereignty. Those of you who are sort of following that vision, I'm not sure what the right way to put that is, but if that's your sort of guiding star, that's what did it for me. I sort of had to return home. Um, at any rate, that's the message for today. I hope that I I hope that sort of finds you in the right place, or the message finds you in the right place today to receive that. Maybe it's the message for you. I don't know, but that was what was coming up for me. It's actually been brewing for a couple of weeks. Anyway, I wish you a wonderful holiday, a wonderful resurrection. Leave the tomb. Leave the tomb. It's time now to do the second part of this story. To complete your story. Yeah. Leave me a note. Tell me where you're listening from, watching from, reading from. You know, I always love to hear uh, from people who somehow not only find this, but listen all the way through. All the love to you.